Welcome back, everybody. We're just in time to see Avalak cross the line again. Looks like he has just been warming up the car, so let's follow him. And this lap, thank you for rejoining us as soon as you have been able to, and we will continually have this problem, I imagine. Thanks to Fahim for confirming he's back and the live chat are working for me, which is excellent. Avalak then on his second attempt here, trying to beat a 1:20.740 track, nice and clear in front of him. Very nice, down into fourth, then quick pick up to fifth gear. Beautiful line through Lesmo 2 for Avalak. As he crosses the line, 1/10 better than he's gone before, which is a very nice place to be. Trying to get himself up further, but running wide through Ascari he goes. Unfortunately, that is a problem for the Red Bull driver, and he is invalidated that lap. Looks like Uzi on an out lap. We've got Brad potentially on a push lap at the moment, looks to be, yes, and he is 009 faster than he's been before. Over the exit of Ascari nice and smoothly for the Alpine. Brad on course here. All the hard work done now, waiting for the car to grip in before fully depressing that throttle, and he's straight into the pits. Great, okay. Thanks, Brad. He manages to stay 9th, 1:21.064. Royal Viking, how's the car feeling at this stage? Have we got a better position for Royal Viking in terms of rear grip? Is he still on that outlap? And Viking manages to get himself a purple first sector, so it is things are looking up for the Alpine driver. Having all kinds of difficulty in the low grip first session here tonight. Runs out wide, but not too wide. Good line through Lesmo 2. May have delayed his throttle on, but he's almost 3/10 to the good here. Currently on this lap. We'll join Uzi in a moment, but Royal Viking was on the bubble here for elimination zone, and as far as our Premier Division driver and reigning season 8 Division 2 champion Umer says he needs to be aiming for a 21 flat. Royal Viking gets himself a 20.6, and that is very, very tasty indeed. See if Uzi has managed to save some tyres through into the final sector. He gets a purple middle sector. Looks like he did dial it back a bit in sector 1. He's only 1/1000th of a second faster in that over 2 sectors, but did get a purple second sector. Let's see, will the car behave through Parabolica? Well, he short shifts to try and protect those rears, and he manages to get away here. The cleanest he has done yet. Goes to the line, and it's a 20.450 for Uzi. Stays off the fastest time, but closes that delta in towards Nick Gishin. I'll be pleased with logging that time with just 20 seconds to go in the session. We lost a big old chunk as Chums manages to lose the car on the approach to Ascari, unfortunately for him. Stoffel on the bubble, and, well, spinning out on Ascari. He'll be relatively pleased to hear that Chums had a similar issue. Not quite as dramatic as Stoffel managed, but it looks like he might spin and get away with it and get through to the next session. And how about that for a prediction from Umer? He said a 21 flat, and it is 21.064, the time on Brad's car that will be the cut-off point. Fantastic stuff from Umer. Goes to the line then for 0-2 in the Ferrari. Gets a all Ferrari second row provisionally. Third and fourth, 0-2 on a 1:20.476. That is tantalisingly close to Uzi. Looks like we're going to have a really close battle for that best of the rest, unless these guys can get any better. Sergeant Panda joins us to say something about Stoffel. I'm assuming that is positive. Forgive me for my poor Afrikaans. But Nick Gishen's on a 120.179. We've got Uzi on 20.4, 4902, 476. Pamper on 518, and Smirch Django on a 580. Very, very close indeed. The top 7 separated by very, very small margins between them. Royal Viking in 6th, 7th is Arno, Avalak is 8th, it's -9, Stoffel 10th, surviving that one only just, and then Brad is in 11th place. And there we have it, your eliminees from the session, confirmed as Brad Chums and AP Mark. I'll be right back with you in just a moment. And we're back for some Q3 top 10 shootout for pole action. Let's get on track. It looks like it's going to be Nick Gishen first on track this time, looking for a clean run of the Parabolica. Looks like Fahim saying 119.8 for pole is his prediction. Not going to break into the 119s. Hitting VMAX in 8th gear here for Nick Gishen. Quickly down onto the heavy onto the brakes going into the Rettifilio. Look out for trouble in the race into Rettifilio, turn 1, lap 1, but that's a problem for a few minutes time. It's now all full focus on the rest of this lap with Nick Gishen into our Della Roggia chicane. Big hop over the curb. That will have cost him a few tenths coming on out, but he was quick mid-corner, so it might be that what he lost he also gained. Nick Gishen through Lesmo 2 nicely, just very much on the limit here, and really pushing very hard indeed. Under the old track, up towards the braking point for Ascari we go. Slightly wide on entry, having to take a compromised line through Ascari, but hanging on for dear life to the steering wheel here of the Haas. Heading on into Parabolica then. Picking fourth for a moment to bring the car into the apex. Back up to 5th again. Nice tight line in, and it's a 119.949. I think he might go quicker, but let's see what Uzi's up to as he is looking for some grip now. coming through the Parabolica himself, and another little correction. Unless that was lag, that was a correction coming through Parabolica. Still struggling with that rear axle is Uzi, a 119.968. How do you like that for close racing? Close qualifying anyway. And there is a 119.9 for him. It's Midas gets a 120.3. A little bit of a hole to fall into as Stoffel adds the next time a 121.048. Pampern and 02 were quick in the previous session. So let's see how they fare. Well, 02's logged a 31, I think, just the charge lap for him. Pampern looking a little bit loose and scary coming through Ascari, but he holds on and just threads the needle coming out of Ascari using the outside edge of that tyre on the white line, but it on the line is sufficient. Through the final corner we go then on board the Ferrari. Should know its way around this track as he reaches for the line on a 120.710. Last on track at the moment is Avalak, and he's managed to create some space for himself. It may mean he only gets 2 runs tonight in this session. Just delaying his exit, but it is a fairly short track, so it could be wise, it could be a deliberate ploy, but that's not going to do anything for him. There's a retirement coming out of Lesmo 2, and it's all over, unfortunately, for our league owner. Avalak retires from action in this session. Just Arno left then on an out lap. He's hoping to avoid debris coming out of Lesmo 2. Sergeant Panda says his message meant give it beans, Stoffel. Excellent, okay. And Arno then in 8th. Still on the out lap. Join him. He's been 2nd or thereabouts in the previous 2 sessions. Almost the entirety of those sessions he's been 2nd to his teammate, and the Haas has been performing very, very well. Just catching those downshifts, super aggressive on the gearbox. You can hear the over rev coming slightly there on the car. Using a little bit of curb on Curva Grande. Slightly unusual line, really. Down into our Rettifilio. Imaging there's a purple sector that's just for himself. That's a huge amount of curb, and that's how to, well, a nice, neat 360. Good style points for Arno, but unfortunately that will not do him any favours in terms of a quick lap. Arno will have to reset and go again. Of course, not physically press the reset button. That would not be a welcome thing to do on full throttle racing. But Smirch Django, next one to challenge other drivers sitting in the pits. I think most of them are just happy with the two attempt runs here. Nick Gisham will be the happiest, of course, on a 19.949, but not sitting very comfortably, as Uzi definitely lost more than the gap to himself and Nick on the exit of Parabolica again. So if he can just nip that in the bud, just get that under control as he did towards the end of Q2, then you fancy he'll have a chance here at a better time. Well, everyone in the pits not doing their best for an entertaining stream. Hopefully we'll have someone out there fighting. Royal Viking will be pleased to get through to Q3, I'm sure, and hoping to start as high or higher than he currently is. P7 on a 121.2. Arno Smertz or Avalak go faster. I believe they can, but they've only got 4 minutes to log a good time. So come on, boys, let's have someone out on track. Otherwise, it's going to be quite a long wait here for the ideal track conditions for everybody. And of course, one of the big problems that you've got around this circuit is that you invariably get traffic jams at the end of Q3. The high track evolution, short track, and high speed nature means that you do get a lot of drivers leaving it as late as humanly possible. So Here we go. Some drivers have decided to go on out of the pits. We have got Smerts, is that? I think it must be Smerts, yeah. First out with the McLaren of Uzi just behind him. Brad has decided to join the lobby. I hope that Shakes can make it back into the lobby safely enough. Smerts is skipping the first chicane, making absolutely no attempt to get through that. He just wants a nice clear track in front of him. Doesn't want anybody to be coming out of the pits as he starts his final attempt. He's got to get the times in though. Smerts currently leading our championship, and we've got we've been told by Ume that Nick is starting a lap. Okay, let's ride with the current pole sitter and see how that first sector goes, because this will be incredibly important setup, and he's defending that pole position currently by less than 0.02 of a second from Ume, using the white line but not the curb on Curva Grande. That's a purple sector, that's 14 thousandths faster than he's been before. Neat and tidy, at least, through Rettifilio into the Lesmos. Really stamping on the throttle out of Lesmo 1. Barely lifting through Lesmo 2. That was very neat and tidy through there. We've got Uzi on a hot lap. Let's see the second sector for Nick then, as Nick gets a 2100. He's gained only 0.07 of a second this time. Uzi heading towards his first sector, and he is up by enough to take that pole position just in sector 1. So what can Nick do here? He's got to have a monster third sector, 1.5 minutes on the clock. With the ERS deployment he's used already, it's now or never for Nick Gishin. He's chosen to go first, and he betters his time to a 1:19.854. But I fancy that Uzi may well be on to something a little bit hotter coming out now through into the second sector. He's gained massively, 2.5 tenths almost. He's a little bit slow on the exit of the first part of Ascari, but I don't think he's lost enough time. Definitely still on for pole position here. Uzi in second into Parabolica. Playing it safe with the upshift into 6th. 7th and 8th are dealt with. DRS is open now, and it's a 1:19.794 for Uzi. Steals the pole position potentially, but maybe Smerts will be still challenging. Let's see his second sector. What has he got? He is... Oh, sorry, his first sector even. We've got other cars about to cross the line. Smerts is slightly slower. He is slightly slower than he's been before. Here comes Stoffel for the line then. Stoffel from 5th, stays 5th. Half a second improvement to 5th place for the Red Bull driver. Next up, we've got, I think that's Royal Viking about to cross the line. What does he manage from 8th? He stays 8th. Arnu directly behind his teammate, trying to get the toe down the straight. He's challenging this one. He picked up the checkered flag, I believe. He will take on the next lap. Let's go back to Smerts, shall we? And invalidation for Smerts, and the checkered flag has fallen. Midas has taken the checker as well. He will not go faster. I think that's our front row. Uzi from Nick Gishin, but Arno has the ability here with a tremendous toe down the start-finish straight. He managed behind his teammate. So thanks to Nick Gishin for coordinating that one. Now it's down to Arno to do all the work in the rest of the lap. His VMAX would have been huge going into the Rettifilio chicane. Out of Lesmo 2 he comes. He's got to get a time on the board here. It is a very uncharacteristic position for Arno. P9 with no time on the board at the moment. So he's got to balance that risk versus reward. Into Ascari we go. Riding the entry part of the curb. Staying away from the raised curbs. Through the exit of Ascari very smoothly indeed. And the question is, has he got tyres left for the end of this lap? The Osmonds are already celebrating. What can Arno do with the maximum amount of track evolution? Rides 5th gear, putting full risk on the car, staying very, very far right coming through the final, and he gets 5th place at 120.396. Finally rescued that one. Avalak will be at the back of the top 10, but start that 10th position ahead of the rest of the field. But it is Uzi who secures the pole position with a 119.794, and missing the second round, but picking up in round 3 where he left off, winning and grand slamming that first race in Hungary. Uzi back on top, and the Osmonds are very, very pleased indeed to see that one. It's 119.794. It's Nick Gishan on 19.854, and Smirch Django some distance away really in 3rd place at 120.291. I'm not 100% happy that he got the maximum out of the car in qualifying. I think he may have some more left in the tank for the race. There we have it then. Uzi with the pole, Nick Gishan Smirts, and then next comes It's Midas, who was half a second away from pole in the Mercedes. Arno in 5th, rescuing that one and the dying embers of the session. Stoffel in 6th, 0-2 in 7th, Pampern in 8th, Royal Viking in 9th, and Avalak, as I said before, rounding out the top 10. He'll be needing to move forward. He's the 2nd place in our championship at the moment, Avalak, and he had a very much a roller coaster session in the race last week. He was dead last coming through into the 2nd sector of the race, and still brought the car home near the front at the end of it. Anyway, Avalak 10th place starting, but it's Uzi on the pole position with the best shot at a clean run through the first turn, treacherous turn here at Monza. But that is really only a very small amount of the work done. All the work really is in the race to stay focused, to manage tyre wear and grip drop off, and of course avoid anyone who decides to go bowling in the early corners of the racetrack. Plenty of you watching with us tonight who I'm assuming haven't commented yet. Remember, of course, if we do lose connection, we will go back to the homepage and reset. Fingers crossed though that we've had the first disco and we won't need any more before the session is done, and the countdown begins for our race around Monza. Let's have your podium predictions during the formation lap, if you will. Choose only 3 drivers and tell me what order they will finish on the podium. You can predict anything else you like as well. How far into the race we'll get before the first safety car, when my next disconnection will be, first penalised driver, or most random event to happen. Here we go then, as the drivers come away from the track, away from the start. We will see the tyre allocation, and that is medium tyres virtually all round. Actually, just 4 drivers, including our pole sitter Uzi, who's gambled on the hard tyres. I believe that was his strategy that worked well in Hungary, to go hard to mediums, but it will leave him vulnerable on the early laps, early 3 to 5 laps, as those hard tyres will take some heat build up. He needs to get a really, really strong warm-up phase in the formation lap, and he needs to avoid being disqualified from the formation lap by misplacing his car against his starting position. But there is Sir Hamrick, joins us at the back. We haven't seen him yet tonight. Top Gun and Shakes near the back too. Then is Ruffer and Super D in 14th for Alfa Romeo. AP Marg reserving in for us in the McLaren. Couldn't get another Osman to join us, or Hashim. So it's AP Marg reserving from Division 3. Chums in 12th in the Aston Martin. Brad in 11th for Alpine, and risking everything across the grass there to warm up the car. Tormund says Super D for the win. Super D from 14th for the win, he says. Avalak in 10th. Royal Viking then, and we'll go through the 2 Ferraris, 7th and 8th. Nice, consistent and strong qualifying performance from them both. Stoffel, the lead Red Bull, in 6th. Arno, the slowest of the Haas drivers, down in 5th, which is great for them. Although I do think he had a potential front row within him. We've got It's Midas in 4th. leading away in the Mercedes team. Smertz in 3rd place. I don't think he's going to stay with us all season in Division 2. And then the front row, Nick Gishin and Uzi. Now, I've been having a terrible time since the last update getting a decent start camera angle for you all. I'm hoping that it is going to be improved. Now, if it stays like this, it's better than I keep getting the view of the rearmost runners. Rear wing, but 27 laps of the Monza circuit await us. Royal Viking doesn't manage to align himself correctly for the race, but it's time to get underway. Fahim says Pampern is going to make it into the top 3 from 8th, and we are going to be underway for you very shortly, waiting for the red lights to come on. Let's pray for no safety cars, and it's lights out and go, go, go away from the start. No start light procedure for us, but Uzi just struggles with the car away. Stoffel gaining places. He's got the inside line going into the first corner, and it's Nick Gishin who gets it all kinds of wrong. Several drivers going wide. Uzi survives. Stoffel up to 2nd. Very early doors there, and then it is a mad scramble with Arno leading the Haas team in 3rd place from 0-2. Lots of drivers went wide through the first corner there, and there is a big bunching effect from 3rd downwards. Let's just check out the position changes. It's Chums who's got up 7, Stoffel up 4, 0-2 up 3, but it's Smerch Django down 13, make that 12 places as he gets back a place from Top Gun. And Pampern down into 14th early doors, but it's Uzi with a near 1 second gap. Remember, he's on the hard tyres away from the start. Shakes is still in and out of the lobby, and I'm not sure whether he's actually in charge of his car yet, but Uzi, a dream start for him, not just on board his car, but with respect to everybody having issues behind him. Arno is super close here to Stoffel, fighting for that 2nd place already. Let's go back to our tyres so we can see these performances in context. Here comes Arno then. Beautiful slipstream developing as he goes for the inside line. Just about stays in the circuit, as Stoffel would have thought he'd closed the door on that one. They draw level, but he's suddenly punching his own hole in the air. They go side by side through the Rettifilio chicane, and just offline goes Arno, and it all goes wrong. Wipes off the front wing, is waiting for a good opportunity to rejoin the circuit. In fact, he waits till he's ghosted and just cuts across, and it looks like it's Midas was slow, or was that Rougher? I think it's Midas, slow through the corner, lost a place, and it is the full safety car. Well, is it the full safety car or is it a virtual safety car? The game's still not really informing us. I think that's a virtual safety car. There was a slow McLaren of AP Marg temporarily there. It does look like we have got a virtual safety car at this stage, thanks to that debris, I'm assuming, from the attempted side-by-side action from Arno. Just pressed the throttle as he normally would coming out of Rettifilio, but unfortunately he was offline. Pampern picks up a drive-through penalty, and he's pitted onto the soft tyres. Nightmare for Pampern, unfortunately, and of course for Fahim, who just said Pampern would finish in the top. It's not all over. This happened to Avalak last week, and he still podiumed at the end of the race. But that is first full course caution for the drivers. Uzi ahead by 1.7 seconds from Stoffel, who was fighting with Arno, and they went side by side, cost them a lot of time, and Arno around. DRS enabled. Race back to green flag racing, and Stoffel will be defending half a second in front of 0-2, who's moved up here on the medium tyres. All this has brought those hard tyres back into play from Uzi. And remember his Hungarian race that seemed to never want to end and continually get safety cars. He'll be having deja vu feelings in the McLaren with full course caution, one leading. That might be the story of this early part of the season for Uzi, but let's see if he can do what he did in Hungary. His brother told us that Hungary was his best track on the calendar, but he's had 2 weeks since that point to practice Monza and get all the tips and hints from his slightly quicker brother. He probably won't thank me for saying that, but he is in a division higher, and he did win the championship last time, so I think I'm relatively safe in saying so. 0-2 then, still half a second behind Stoffel, not losing too much by way of grip through the fast stuff here, following Stoffel, and he'll be happy to pick up the DRS deployment on the way out of the next corner. That is Parabolica. He goes in the Ferrari. Fans urging him on, of course. They'd love to see a Ferrari on the beautiful podium here at Monza. That's the fastest lap so far from 0-2 as well, in the wake of the car in front of Stoffel. Super D betters that, in fact, down in 10th, make it, yeah, just 10th position as he overtakes Ruffer. That is Ruffer Buffalo in P11. Who is reserving for us from Division 3. Cars just closing up a little bit here. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Stoffel 0, Nick Gishen and Chums, and a good lead still being maintained by Uzi. He's going to be nervous of stretching that lead any more than he has to after what he went through in Hungary with the continual restarts that have had to happen on the car. Let's have a quick check-in with position change. Any major differences? Stoffel and 0-2 have both moved forward, but not as much as Chums, who's gained 7 places overall. Then it's there or thereabouts for the majority of the drivers. Smertz presumably had to pit for damage. We know Arno definitely had to pit, and we know that Pampern pitted under the first virtual safety car, only to then get a drive-through penalty for not adhering to safety car delta times. Let's see, 0-2, half a second coming out of Parabolica. Can he close in anymore as Nick Gishen is going quicker and catching this group just behind them? 0 is going to have to make a move soon as a yellow flag comes on the track. That was an Alpha Tauri at the back there, possibly of Shakes, just going wide coming out of Ascari, but surviving. The car's looking a little bit slow coming out of Retifilia, but that was just the camera angle, I think. We are still at racing speed, and 0-2 closes to within a quarter of a second of the Red Bull in front. A quick flash of papaya orange as our leader goes through, and is actually now being slightly caught by these two. Make that 3 drivers. Stoffel 0 and Nick Gishen, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Another yellow flag coming out of Ascari. I think we're just going to see strobe effect lights. That was Pampern going through Ascari this time. A good opportunity for 0-2 with great drive coming off the Lesmo 2. Gets the inside line going into Ascari. He's going to have to be careful as they go side by side. Let's see if they make it through. 0-2, very, very cautious, and that's meant that Nick Gishen has caught them both. Nick Gishen will be slightly boxed in here, nowhere to go unless that Red Bull moves across. He slots in, and 0-2 allows him through. It is only lap 5 of 27, and 0-2 being very circumspect there. A 10-second penalty for Pampern. I think that's going to be, he's going to get himself retired coming into the next time round into the pits. The Red Bull Stoffel decides to defend going into Retifilia. There is room enough to do that as he is slow through the apex of the second part of the Retifilio. 0-2, too far away to capitalise. The Haas takes the inside line going into Della Roggia, and he already has the overlap. In fact, due to the turning helicopter, that was in fact the Curva Grande that they managed. And Nick Gishen up to 2nd place, and he's hoping to put the gap now on the 2 drivers behind him and close in to Uzi, who's going to have to start upping the pace a little bit now with those hard tyres, presumably well into their operating range. Pampern looking very slow coming out of Ascari once again, and a little bit of a wiggle going into Ascari for 3rd place Stoffel. Looks like some of the sting has gone, but he's managed to pick up the slipstream down the back straight. Jason saying that Stoffel is carrying those Red Bulls. I'm sure Avalak will thank you for that comment. Super D has retired from the session, and that is going to be our first safety car. Does anybody make the last second dash for the pits? Yes, 2nd place Nick Gishen comes in the pits. Only 6 laps into the race now. Does he decide that this will be the first of many safety cars? He selected, what type of tyres has our 2nd place driver selected? He's going to go for a second set of mediums on the car for Nick Gishin. So he might be trying a medium soft, but it is a long way still to go in the race for a set of softs at the end. It will be light on fuel, but he's given up 6 track positions down to 8th. Stoffel and 02 decided not to pit at this time. Uzi likewise would tend not to at this early stage as well on the hard tyres. Avalak moves up to 6th place. Remember, he started 10th as the safety car waits in a difficult position. I have seen drivers crash into a safety car on the inside of Curva Grande. It is slightly hidden if they're going at full speed. They shouldn't be going at full speed though as they come on through. Then any further pit stops towards the back of the grid? I don't think so. Decision time really now for Uzi. He will have an opportunity before picking up the safety car to pit, and while everyone else is running the same delta gaps before the safety car is caught. Let's see what Uzi does. He does pit, so deciding to get rid of those hard tyres, can change compound. Stoffel goes through, 02 comes in. So a split decision there between the 2 medium starters. It's Midas stays out as well. Who else is coming in? Very few drivers, just Uzi and 02 coming in. So Uzi in 5th will be looking to try and get out of the pits ahead of Nick Gishin, and I think he will do without issue. Already up to racing speed is the McLaren. In fact, Uzi just pipped to the first corner by his teammate AP Mark, who's still on his starting hard tyres and wearing a penalty on the car. So Nick Gishin in fact behind 02. That didn't work out brilliantly for Nick. Question mark there about Arno bringing out the second safety car. I'm not quite sure why Arno would be bringing that one out. He certainly brought this the first VSC out, didn't he? It was Super D's retirement that triggered the safety car this time during lap 6. So our new order on the grid, we have Stoffel here in the lead. The top 5 drivers not pitted yet. Stoffel, it's Midas, Chums, Avalak and AP Mark. And then Uzi in 6th has pitted. Is the previous leader of the race.